Hi, I'm Varian Brandon, and this is another of, I think, the chat sessions because I've got a lot of different things to talk to you about. Um, and we'll get to it. If you're new, then hi. I am a stranded colorwork designer. I live in the beautiful mountains of western North Carolina. And as I said, I'm a stranded colorwork designer. And if you're sitting there asking yourself, what is she talking about? What is stranded colorwork? And if I showed you something, you would say, isn't that just Fair Isle? And I would say yes and no, depending on what I showed you. If you have been on my channel, and I'll link it below, I've done a whole series of kind of a stranded colorwork discussion where I start with what is stranded colorwork. And I call it a non-definitive definition because you can ask a couple people or a couple hundred, I don't know, I've only asked a few, we've done some reading, that, and they'll give you a different definition of what stranded colorwork is. And the best I can tell you, it is where you carry usually only two colors per round. You can carry them both in one hand or both in the other hand, or one in each hand. I usually do the one in each hand way. All are fine. Some people even drop and pick up whichever one they need. That's fine too. And you work on usually from charts, generally in the round, always with it produces a stockinette type stitch knitting, but you are only working on the knit side because you're in the round. And if you knit in the round, you know what that means. It is a heck of a lot easier to do that, this type of stranded work in general, when you are working in the round, so the public side is always facing you, so you can see the pattern. As I said, you're generally working in a chart. What was I going to say? I've lost the rabbit now. Here, wait a minute. And that you are the color you're working with you're working with it, and the one you're not working with is stranded along behind. So stranded along behind it. Now, if you know that particular type of knitting and you are familiar with that, it being called Fair Isle, you are partly right, as I said. Stranded work is sort of stranded knitting is the sort of the broader topic, where Fair Isle is one of them. So all of Fair Isle is stranded, but not all of stranded is Fair Isle. And the types of stranded work break down from usually by motif, even though I'm the living example of not having that be so, but usually by motif, usually by and those motifs are broken up geographically. As I said, I'm probably not the one. I used to do that kind of work, and I don't do much anymore. I still use the stranded technique. I just don't use the motifs of Fair Isle, which are generally the OXO type, the larger patterns are OXO patterning. There's some Scandinavian people who do the same type of techniques. There's some Inuit people who do. There's some of the Peruvian is kind of intarsia and Fair Isle, I know, stranded work together. So that being said, I've got a whole video on it, and I'm going to link the whole series down below so you can see if you're interested at all. And I start with what is Fair Isle and go all the way. Hopefully, eventually, I've gotten all the way up to blocking and finishing up, which I just haven't done yet, just because it'll be over if I do that. It's a stupid excuse, but anyway, I try. But if you have been with me for a while, you will know that I do both. What I do is not exactly, it's not the Fair Isle motifs, even though I have done that. I have wanted to do something different, which I'm going to show you some examples of in just a minute. But as I said, if you have been with me, you will know that I haven't been with you for a while. And the people who sort of give people who make videos or do any sort of social media advice, they say if you haven't been sending out social media in a while, you really shouldn't say, I'm sorry, I haven't been here for a while, because the people who are seeing it may not see this for months down the way, and they won't know that you've taken a break. But let me go back to the people who've been here. I feel like I owe you an explanation, so I'm going to try to do so. That was long and convoluted. I'm so sorry. I'm dry in here. I'm out of practice. Can you tell? Um, the reason I haven't been here for a while is that my husband's had a health issue. Um, we are pretty assured right now he's fine. However, it started in late January and February of this year, and it has been a series of plane travels, car travels, waiting rooms, a whole bunch of stuff where my brain was just not into doing anything too much or small things. I didn't want to do a big sweater, even though I'm working on one, which I'll tell you about future when we get a little further beyond just the ribbing, which is not much. But what I did do because of I just needed to work on, have you been in that situation where you needed to knit, but you couldn't knit, but you needed to knit? If that makes sense, you're anxious enough that you wanted to have something with your hands going, but you're anxious enough that you can't concentrate on it, but you're anxious enough to have your hands going on something. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. So what I decided to do was to take small projects with me on the planes, in the waiting rooms, in the hotel rooms, in the, that sort of thing, all year long. It's been interesting, as I said, but as far as we know, he's fine now. But so I started to do hats, and I'm now up to 8 hats. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see some of them have come up. I'm at 8. The momentum, now that we were assured he's a little bit better, I've kind of moved off to some other projects. But I still need to get these hats done, because what's going to happen with them is that I'm going to put them into a book and try to offer the book probably late spring, early summer. Could be later than that, but that's kind of what I'm working on. I'm trying to get them written up and ready to go. I'm talking to a photographer because I can't shoot photography. I mean, I can try. I can do okay, but I can't. When you shoot knitting, you have to have a model. You have to have a photographer. You have to have all this sort of stuff. And I don't like to model. I will if I have to, but I don't like it. And so I'm going to have to find a model or... Anyway, you get the picture. That there's a lot going into it. But I have 8 of the hats. And if I can get 2 or 4 more done, I'm not sure whether I'm going to stop at 10 or 12. And then I've got to get them shot, and then I've got to get all the patterns, or at the same time get all the patterns written up. As I said, there's a lot. But I thought I'd show you the hats. I thought you might like to see them. It's kind of what is going on. So I've got 3 silhouettes. So no further ado, let's move on. I have 3 silhouettes. One is a bucket style, and that's what I do, what I call the bucket style. It's more, I'm going to politely call it a slouch hat, which is what this one is. This is one I've done before. This one, I have labeled it Unbaroken because it has some sort of Baroque kind of swishy, swirly things in here. I am not 100% sure about any of the names for any of the hats in the book yet. I'm going to include these in. This may get renamed, but if you want it before I take it down, this one's called Unbaroken. Here's the top of it. And it has, as I said, these real sort of Baroque, swishy kind of things to it. It is, I'm going to do this. I just brushed my hair, but I'm going to do it anyway, just because I want you to see what it looks like on. These are the slouch hats that don't fit tight like a beanie, but have a little bit of width at the back, so that you've got, something like this, and then you can see, I don't know whether you can or not, but you can see the top of it, which I've showed you. Anyway, okay, there goes the hair. Anyway, so that's the top of this one. There's another one, and I probably will do this one more I've got that I don't like the colors in. I did some time ago, never released. I'm going to redo the colors so they come up a little bit better, but that's not here yet. That's my next one up. But this one has been called Ivy Crown. This is another one that I've done before that I'm going to take down and put it in the book for a while. And I might rename it. I don't know. But anyway, it's got Ivy kind of all over it. Another of these, I really need to mark the back of these, but anyway, there went the headband. That was good. Another one of these sort of slouch, kind of hats, which are nice to wear. And I put a little bit of a, can you see that? I-cord top on it so that they're easy just to pull off the top of your head without stretching out the ribbing around the top. Now the other ones I have 4 of these, and I'm probably done with this but I like it. It's my new patterning. These are sort of a tam, kind of a, not a big broad tam o' shanter one, but just, that's one, right? These are the ones that have no names. But that's this one, and this is just, I've kind of pull it off the side a little bit. You can pull it down like that. It's kind of a loose beanie. This one's a little shorter than the other ones, but that's this one, and a little bit of a I-cord thing at the top, not much. And then this one is, hello, where are you? Probably here, I'm gonna bet. Nope, not there. I can't find the back of them. That's the hard part. I need to mark it. Oh, there we are. Okay. So this is this one. So it's got lavender and cream colored in it, like that. Kind of a traditional, sort of traditional. Well, no, not really, because it has flowers and stuff in it. And here's the top of that. Lots of circles and things. That's that one. This is, that was 1, 2, or 1, 3. Right now they're just named Tam 1, Tam 2. That was Tam 1, Tam 3. This is Tam 2. Because I like the colors in this one a lot. This one is got, all of this on it, like this. And if you can see, it's, kind of like that. And then the top of it is like that, which is kind of nice. But you can wear them, kind of poofy at the top. You can pull it off to one side. You can pull it towards the back a little bit so they're, not as slouchy as the other slouchy ones. And then the last of these is my latest one off the needles. And I am in love with the colors in this hat. And as I said, none of these have names yet, but I really like this one. And you can see how that goes. So that bright color kind of runs around that way. And then the top of this one is kind of like that, which I think is kind of nice. This one, I will admit that I had the chart done. I was trying to figure out how to do the colors. And I looked at I was a sweater. Maybe it's a sweater that Alice Starmore had done. And if you don't know who Alice Starmore is, look up Virtual Yarns. She has beautiful stuff, unlike my hair, which is static electricity and crazy. So let's try this again. Okay. And I looked at her colors, and I couldn't use them exactly, but I kind of thought when I got close, put it together on the needles, and it was gosh awful. So I substituted out. I had a purple color where this sort of watermelony, what's called watermelony color, kind of right there, that real bright, that's real nice. I had a purpley color for that, and I pulled it out, put the watermelony color in, not like Alice's coloring at all. It's more like my coloring, because I love those gradations of color that, go from dark to light like that. That's something I have pulled over from Fair Isle Designs, or at least Alice's Fair Isle Designs, where you start dark on the outside and come in and you have something really bright in the middle, which is kind of what this one does. And they're graded. In my case, they're usually graded down. See, like this, where you have the dark blue and the medium blue and the light blue in the middle. In this case, you have the dark burgundy, the watermelon, into the sort of the apricot-y color, which I think is called sandalwood. I think is what that one's called. And then, anyway, by the way, these are all Elemental Affects. Elemental Affects Shetland, which is gorgeous yarn. This is their one of all of their colors right there, which is like my palette yarns. I kind of pull out and see, well, this go with that and this go with that. So if you can afford, if you're designing, if you can afford to do this, or having a relationship with the yarn company that they can send you something like that, that's just great. It kind of beats the color cards. I've probably talked about this before. When you have a color card, and I wish if I'd known I was going to talk about this, I'll try to put one up in the corner of one of the other color cards, where they're all glued or tied onto a rigid piece of paper. It's hard to see what color looks good next to another color. And I have been known, not with any of the rustic yarns, because I've got several colored cards of those, but I've known to cut some of the cards apart and put them on a chain like this with their things attached so I could pull them together. This is ideal like that. I've got another one over, ouch, I've got another one over here. This is the same kind of thing from Mountain Meadows colors, and they're all right there, all except for a green, which fell off and is up. Anyway, too much information. Anyway, so, okay, the other two silhouettes are the Keps, and if you follow me on Instagram, as I said, you've seen these as well. These I love because they have tassels and things on the bottom. They're fun to wear. They're very warm and nice. Somebody's called them like a French mariner hat. In reality, it's the like the traditional Keps from Fair Isle, but not with their motifs. So this one, and you make this, I'll show you this. Let's see, I've got the other one in front of me, but this one doesn't have a name yet, but there was so much fun to say no, it kind of just, I do that all the time, put on this hat. I can't stand not doing it. But anyway, that's that one. They're made, you start here and work up to there, and then you turn the whole hat inside out so that this is now on the back side of what you just knitted, and then keep going, change needle sizes and do your rib here, and then change back to the larger needle and then finish out your hat. And then this gets folded up so that it gets folded up like that. And then you've got double thickness over your ears, and then you have a little bright, on the inside. So it's, and this one is, again, those just gradations of color, which I just love so much. And then that is, I guess, the second one. This is the first one. Well, I made these out of different yarn, then I redid them. This one is the same silhouette. It's one of these, the Kep kind of things. And as I said, I've got two more, one more, I don't know. But that's this one, which is good too. I love these colors in here, and they're just fun. They're warm. They keep your ears warm, and it's a kind of a hat, which is kind of a traditional and not traditional, because those are not traditional patterns. So let's play with my hair a little bit more. Okay, does that look gorgeous now? No. Okay, no, I don't need opinions. Thank you. Just got no. Anyway, one of the other things I'm working on is a sweater. Now, the designs for these hats have slowed down a little bit because I finally got, now that we know that my husband's going to be okay, and I've kind of can relax and kind of get into it. I've gotten sweater I was working on. It's real interesting, and I'll tell you that story again when I show you the sweater next time. But depending on kind of where I am with it, is that it's a yoke sweater that I'm doing for Mountain Meadow that is to be, I think, a knit along. For them, for people who have not done sweaters before. And I did something up that was pretty simple. And then I kept adding to it, me, more colors, the better, and it got more and more. And then I finally decided, okay, as I was getting into making it, this is in the middle of all the stuff, I put it down we were on the road more often, and in the waiting rooms and things like that. I put it down because it was not working, and it just, my head wasn't right. Now my head's back right again, or at least as right as it ever is. And I picked it up again, and I thought, that's gotten way too complicated. So let me go back and go back to I looked to get back at my very original simple pattern for people who might be a little afraid of sweaters or stranded work or anything like that. And I like it so much better. I did a little tweaking, make it a little bit different. And now I'm kind of happy with it. So I'll show you that. That's a tease, isn't it? I'll show you that next time because I'm not that far along on it. And so I'm trying to think of what else. I'm teaching at, hello. The next time I'm teaching is at the retreat, which is another reason I wanted to get here and talk to you about it. Every year from I think 2005, 2006, we have done at least in some form. Most of the time, it takes the form of coming up to Kanuga, which is an Episcopal conference grounds just about 30 minutes from here, but it's in the mountains. It is a knitting and quilting retreat. It is project-based. I'm telling you this because you might want to come. It is project-based as opposed to class-based. So you sign up with an instructor and a project you want to work on for the weekend. And it's a long weekend in January. It's Martin Luther King weekend, so it's mid-January. My idea is that you've done a lot of stuff for Christmas. You're probably in the middle of it right now. A lot of stuff for Christmas for your family and for friends, and you're having a blast doing it. But by the time you get through, you're just kind of done. And it's time to do something for yourself. And so come to the mountains, sit around big stone fireplaces. If you're a quilter or a knitter and you have a quilting friend, bring them along. The food is excellent. The facilities are really nice. It has been started. Was built. A couple of the cabins were built as part of a hunting lodge. Now they've been redone quite a bit, but as part of a hunting lodge in the early 19-teens. I'm thinking 1912, 1913 maybe. And it was bought by the Episcopal Church in 1928, and it is 9 acres, I think. It's got to be more than that. Anyway, it's a lot of acreage. That there's hiking, there's all sorts of stuff that goes on. It is not one of those places. We're not one of those people who say you have to be an Episcopalian or even any religion to come, specifically to come. I tell people the Episcopalians are not people who hogtie people, throw them down, and they can't get up until they become Episcopalians. That's not it. We do have a priest because the priest is required by Kanuga to have a priest on board. She is a knitter and a quilter. She does services, but nobody's taking. Full exposure. They are. That's not the right word. Anyway, just so you know. She does services in the morning and in the evening, but nobody's taking attention. Nobody makes you come. It's not awkward. The classes are done by 4. The service is at 5:15. You have time. It's not. And as I said, nobody's keeping track of who's there and who's not there. But so it's there if you want it. If it's not, you don't have to participate, and nobody's going to give you a hard time about it. So it's not a big deal. I've had people say, I don't know, the religious part of it, I'm not sure. And I'm like going, what religious part of it? I think Jennifer, who's Swedish as can be, Jennifer blesses the food before we eat it. That's about, if you don't go to the services, that's all you'll really see of it being, and the fact that there are crosses around because it's a religious place, but that's not the whole thing. All right, off that soapbox for a bit. Anyway, that's the deal. So it is Kanuga, Kanuga, and I'll put the what's that called, URL across down here. If you're interested at all, you can read more about it there. If you've got any questions, please get in touch. I'd love to see you there because I'd like to have more stranded colorwork people there too. Not that we don't have a lot, because we do have a lot, but always more stranded colorwork people. Did I tell you about my take over the world through stranded colorwork? Did I tell you? If you want to join, just let me know. Thank you guys for listening to this gibber. Anything else? I'll get back with sort of more regular stuff now that I'm kind of feeling better about things and things are going to be okay. So I thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. You can find me in all the usual places. And if you've got any questions about stranded colorwork, please get in touch. Okay? Thanks again, guys. Bye-bye.